Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
Hey everyone, this is James, your openly gay blind metalhead. So we're going to do, I guess I would say, another metal-themed video, because the last one I did was a reaction to Limp Bizkit's song Hot Dog from their album Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. They're not fucking metal as far as I'm concerned, but I mean, they've got some metal in them, but yeah, well, I'll just say it was a metal-themed video for argument's sake. But this is another reaction video that's metal-oriented, and I do want to get back more into doing metal-oriented stuff, because, I mean, hell, metal is in the name of this channel, Blinded by Metal. So this is a reaction video, and I found it's the song Freezing Moon by the Norwegian black metal band Mayhem. And a little bit of history about the vocal evolution of Mayhem. Mayhem originally had the vocalist Maniac doing some of their vocals back in the 80s, if I remember correctly, and then, and I'm not even going to say the guy's real name because I have no idea how to pronounce it, but his stage name is, his stage name was Dead. Dead was a guy from Sweden, and he started playing with Mayhem in the late 80s, early 90s, and members of Mayhem, such as Necro Butcher in particular, the bassist, was always talking about how Dead was really weird. Dead would always talk about envisioning himself being dead, or having visions or premonitions that he would die at a young age. Dead also reported to have visions in which his blood was literally frozen in his veins. There's a name for this, I can't remember it, but it is I don't know if it's specifically neurological, or, well, it probably is. I guess you would call it a neurological disorder, and it's something that can happen to people who have head trauma, and one of the things that Dead's parents had talked about was that he had suffered a head injury when he was a child, so that might have possibly caused this, or correlated with it at the very least. Whatever the case, Dead clearly had some issues, at the very least mental health issues, possibly even neurological issues, and obviously led a very strange life, probably I would imagine even a really lonely life. But long story short, he came to provide vocals for Mayhem for a short while, and he was supposed to have performed vocals on their De Mysteriis Dom Satanis album, which was supposed to be released in between 1990 and 1991, but it was held back from release until about 3 years later, because when they were before they were set to record, well, let me back up. They rented a house. The members of Mayhem rented a house in one of the forests of Norway, and they did a lot of their rehearsing there. And one night, around, I believe it was 1991, while Dead was alone in the house, he took a shotgun. And also, I do need to provide a trigger warning. I forgot to do that. If there's anybody who is sensitive to topics such as mental health disorders, or sensitive to things like discussions like self-harm and suicide, you might want to click off this video now. So while Dead was left alone in the members' rehearsal house, he took a shotgun, and he took a knife and a shotgun, and he slit his throat, slit his wrists, and shot himself. But before that, he wrote a suicide letter saying something to the effect of, "Sorry for all the blood and the mess. Cheers. Dead." His dead body would be photographed by Euronymous, aka Oystein Aaset, who was the guitarist of Mayhem, and
Monday, December 7th.
damn it.
YouTube, video player, More previous rewind to play button.
And Euronymous, while I'm on the topic, he would go on to be killed by vocalist. And just a little sidebar on that, around 1993, there was some sort of feud between vocalist and Arset. And for those who don't know who vocalist is, he was the bassist for Mayhem at the time, and he played bass for their De Mysteriis Dom Satanas album. Eventually, when that album was released, they would have good, I'm drawing a blank on his name, perfect. Tila Chara from groups like Tormentor on vocals, after Dead can no longer obviously provide the necessary vocals. So around 93, there was a power struggle between vocalist and Artseth, and this finally culminated in vocalist and another member of another black metal band going to Oystein Artseth's apartment, and there was a struggle, and vocalist ended up stabbing Artseth to death over around 25 times. Vocalist would go on to say that Euronymous was going around, again, that's Oystein Artseth's stage name. Vocalist would go on to tell people that he would go on to tell the police in particular that the members of Mayhem were going around telling him just days before the stabbing that Euronymous was going to go and he was planning to kidnap. He was planning to kidnap Vikernes, tie him up in the forest, and torture him with an electroshock pistol, as to use Vikernes' words, and torture me and kill me in the forest and videotape it. I mean, a smart ass, but no. His story was basically that Euronymous was going to take him, kidnap him, take him into the forest, tie him up, and use a taser on him, and torture him to death, all while filming it to make a snuff film. And so, given this information, he decided that he would strike back first. Well, sounds like premeditated murder to me, but nevertheless, Euronymous was killed, and Mayhem damn near ceased to exist for quite a while.
Rewind play.
And of course, they would go on to put out more albums. But anyway, so that's a little bit of the story of Mayhem. Vagvakunis never provided any sort of musical services for them after that, because around the time of between 1992 and 93, he was already doing his own one-man band project titled Belsum. And he put out a few albums, and then after he went to prison for arson as well as the murder of Oystein Artseth, he didn't really do too much music except for a couple of ambient albums in the late 90s, and then he was sentenced to prison for the maximum, which over in Norway is 21 years. Technically there really is no life sentence over there, which, hey, that actually works for me. I'm fine with that. We'll get into my controversial ideas about crime and punishment and my essentially socialist opinions about the justice system at a later time. But nevertheless, Vikernes was sentenced to 21 years in prison, the max, and then he would go on to be paroled in 2009, at which point he released a few black metal albums, a couple more ambient albums, and then he claimed on his YouTube channel that Belsum was going to pretty much cease to exist after a while. Well, unless they decided to release an old recording, I don't think that's true, because on iTunes there is something, a new album of his that was released here not too long ago.
Rewind play button.
I'll probably do a YouTube video about that at some point. But anyway, so you have a little bit of the history of Mayhem, and so this is, and I don't know what album this comes off of. I'll have to check and talk about that here at some point. But this is the song "Freezing Moon" off of the Mayhem album De Mysteriis Dom Satanas, and this version has Dead on vocals. Unlike the album version that has Attila Chara on vocals. So we're going to see what this sounds like.
Rewind play button.
And here we go. And this
Next
is
video, track position. Less than a second of 6 minutes 15 seconds.
all right. So about
Next video,
6 minutes,
button.
15 seconds.
Forward 10 second play button.
Here we go.
Play. Pause button.
Yeah, I love that intro. A little bit of a different key, but still a really good intro. I don't know, for some reason I always think of like some wrestler or some like some WWE wrestler just lurching out into the ring to this song or something. I don't know why I've always thought that, but I could easily see a wrestler using this as one of their songs. And I'm assuming that this is Hellhammer on drums, because back in the 80s they did have one guy, Yathal Mannheim, I think his name was, who did drums for them for a couple of years, and then Hellhammer would go on to do drums for them in the late 90s. And so he's been doing it all these years with a few breaks in between. Guy's got stamina. Wow. Yeah, and those are your quintessential dark and evil black metal vocals right there. Yeah, it's got he has just the right amount of darkness and evil to him. I love it. Yeah, and I do love the guitars on here too, that sort of atonal sound they have. Yeah, I just want to stop for a minute.
Play button.
Yeah, his vocals, because this is actually the first time I've really heard any of Dead's vocals on really anything. I'd hear whenever I'd watch documentaries on the second wave of black metal, which the second wave of black metal would begin in the 90s and has groups like Dark Throne, Mayhem, Beelzebub, Emperor, groups like that. When I've watched a few documentaries on it, I'd always hear little clips of Dead, but of course everybody would be, like the musicians and people would be giving interviews over it, so it was kind of hard to hear. His vocals kind of remind me a little bit of Nectarno Occulto from Dark Throne. Just that real menacing, real hateful sort of spewing vocals. And they definitely lend themselves really perfectly to this, to the atmosphere of this song. Attila Chara, his vocals on the album version of this song were good, but I mean they. I definitely like Dead's vocals a lot better.
Forward play.
And
button.
that's too bad that he couldn't have been around enough to provide his vocals for their album on which this song appeared.
Play. Pause. Button.
Damn. And I do like that guitar solo right there. I've always loved that in this song for what it is. I mean, obviously it's no Van Halen or Carlos Santana, but I mean it's just as far as the style of metal goes, I love it. It's got a pretty good sound to it. Yeah, I love the menacing of those vocals. It's just, I can't get over it.
Rewind 10 seconds. Previous video. Mayhem. Expand description. Video player. Caption. Video. Collapse video. On. Catch. More actions. Button. Preview. Rewind. Pause. Button. Play.
Just to add one more thing real quick before I finish up the video. I think what that whole section we just listened to right now with Dead's vocals on it, I think what definitely makes his vocals work for this song and what would have made them work for the Mysterious Dom Satanas album, it was just basically that with the Attila Chara on the Mysterious Dom Satanas album doing vocals, in this song when he does the vocals for Freezing Moon, this song right here, this section when Attila Chara does the vocals for it, he almost, I mean he obviously does the black metal style, but he almost puts some melody in there. Like it's almost like he's trying to half black metal growl, half sing the verses. And that's the first thing I noticed whenever I heard the Mysterious Dom Satanas album and that song in particular. And it's like, is he doing black metal vocals or is he trying to sing? What the hell is he doing? Now, that being said, Attila's voice does work for the third song on the album, Cursed in Eternity. And he's got the perfect voice for that, but that'll be another video at a later time. But yeah, for this one, Dead's vocals work a lot better, especially for that middle section of the song.
Rewind 10 play.
Where he's just doing straight up black metal vocals. He's not trying to half black metal vocal, half sing the song like what Attila would do in their in their album version of it.
Play. Pause. Button. Pause. Pause. Button. Video play. Autoplay. Rewind. Replay. Button.
Okay, well, that was Freezing Moon with Dead on vocals by Mayhem. And yeah, I loved everything about the song. I loved the more darker key that it was, the more darker melody that it was played in, the guitar work. The drumming was really fast, furious, high-paced, and really intense, like usual. And when it was doing the more slower rhythms, the more kind of like mainstream rhythms, it even had a really good sound in that. Dead's vocals were just straight up evil, menacing, hateful black metal vocals, as it should be. And yeah, this version of Freezing Moon definitely gets 5 stars from me. So that's it for the video. If you guys enjoyed that, share, comment, subscribe, and share. I can be found on Facebook under James Heady, James space Heady. I can be found on Twitter under Duran Grey Addict. That's DIRENGREYADDICT. Everybody have a good evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Camera chooser. Camera chooser. Stop recording. Button.